Hi, I'm Liv with the Girls Guide to Cars, and this is the Volvo C40 Recharge Twin Ultimate. So let's check it out. This is the Fjord Blue color. You've probably seen this a lot in media. It's one of the more eye-catching colors that they have. They also have a fusion red and a sage green, but one of the especially cool things about the Fjord Blue is that you can also get a matching interior. Not to worry though, you can also get this in black, in gray, in crystal white, so you got all your bases covered. Now this is a really simplistic front right here. You don't have a massive grille like a lot of EVs. You have the body color carried over to the front, and like a lot of people have noticed, this is the trademark Thor's Hammer LED headlights over here. Something really cool about this version, the Ultimate, which is the highest trim, is that it actually has a power washer to clean the headlights. I mentioned the Ultimate as the top trim. For a while, this was the only trim that you could get in the US, but the Core and the Plus trims are now available too. The Plus starts at about $56,000, but this one, as it is spec'd, is about $60,000. Let's move around to the side. Something especially cool about this vehicle is the ground clearance. This is 7 inches of ground clearance, which is a lot for an EV. If you don't know, EVs, their batteries are on the bottom. That's taken up a lot of space right there. So the fact that you have this ground clearance is really, really cool. And that partnered with the fact that this has off-road mode gives us a whole bunch of flexibility that you might not get on another comparable vehicle. Let's check out the charging. Now this vehicle can charge at a speed of up to 150 kilowatts of DC fast charging. And this actually comes with 250 kilowatt hours of free charging with Electrify America. You're probably gonna go through that quickly, but not to worry. It also includes a year free subscription, member subscription to Electrify America that gives you discounted rates. Even though there is a swooped rear shape here, the tail lights are still very visible. You have the sequin tail lights over here and sequential indicator. If you want to open the trunk, it's super easy to do. There's a large bar to hit to open the trunk. So if you have dexterity issues, this might be nice and easy for you. Closing it is just a simple tap of a button too. Something that is available in the Ultimate trim is this foldable, removable floor here that you can actually bend into position and use these hooks right here to hold your shopping bags or other items in place and partition this whole area as well. There is more storage under here and some essential tools for your vehicle. As I mentioned outside, this interior has the Fjord Blue on the inside, super cool looking. And just so you know, there is no leather option with this. Volvo is leather free. This features a combination of felt in the side doors where you see the Fjord Blue, a synthetic micro suede, and some other like alternative vinyl materials as well. It's actually really cool. On the dash here, you see this sort of topographical thing that's inspired by the scenic mountain ranges in Abisko, Sweden. And this is not just a simple surface. It's actually lit up in multiple sort of light ways. It's hard to see now in the daylight, but you can see it as the light starts to dim, and it's really, really cool. And it's a subtle and unique way to incorporate ambient lighting that I haven't seen on other vehicles. There is wireless charging right here in the center and 2 USB-C ports as well as a 12 volt. You have a little compartment here that I'm not super sure what it's for. Piano black, and as they call it, a sculpted shifter. You have your 2 beverage holders, and something that I think is so cool is a trash can right here. And that is actually removable. So you can empty your trash out, clean this if it gets gunky or whatever, and just pop it right back in. That is a super cool feature. You don't have to go find a trash can to clip to something else. There's something else that I think is super cool too. Let me show you. Inside the glove box here, there is actually a bag hook that you just flip out and you can hook your purse to it. So you can get it easily. You can have your shopping there so it's not rolling around. Numerous uses for that. And if you don't want it, it's okay. It just folds simply back in. Super cool. The controls in this vehicle are really quite simplistic. You do have manual air adjustment right here to turn it off and on with this little twister dial here. and air on either side. But most of your multimedia stuff is in this 9-inch screen over here. Now this is actually Google and Android Automotive embedded in the vehicle. So you don't need a phone or whatever. You could hook this up to your Google account and navigate with it. As you can see, I actually navigated to IKEA just yesterday with this. You have the ability to use apps, including Apple CarPlay. And you can go to the Play Store, check out a whole bunch of stuff and add things to there. If you want to adjust anything in the vehicle, you can adjust some driving dynamics. There is that off-road mode if you wanted to select that. Have most stuff on, lane keeping aid, road sign information, which will pop up the road sign details on the display here as long as you are not in calm mode. Actually, it'll pop it up anyways, as you can see to the right there. And then Navi mode brings your map as well. You can select driving dynamics. You can just turn one pedal drive off and on. You can change the steering wheel to feel more firm or less. And then you have a whole bunch of other things that you can do, as is typical. You can change your charging limits and the sound optimization. In this Ultimate trim, there are Harman Kardon. There's a premium Harman Kardon sound system here. You can alter the surround sound, the treble, the bass. I like a lot of bass, a lot of subwoofer, and I'm including everyone in the vehicle in this experience, but you can just make it focused on the driver, which is kind of cool. Like, I want the best mode for when I'm driving or whatever it is when you're driving by yourself and you're singing alone in the car kind of thing. There are a whole bunch of other settings, connectivity, controls. You can change some things about the vehicle. But really, it's somewhat chill, somewhat unobtrusive. If you press this button here in the center, it will take you back to your sort of main screen. You can see my iPhone is connected. We have our range in miles, 160 miles of range. Now, interestingly, on the instrument cluster, you only have the percentage. So we see that we have 74% battery, which is obviously equal to 160 miles of range. And if you go into each of these, you do get additional features here. And then we can go back again. There is Sirius satellite radio that I was listening to right there. And if we want to go to the general screen as well, we can go there. There are heated seats and a heated steering wheel. And in the Ultimate trim, there are heated seats in the rear as well. The parking camera is super cool. We have the 360 view, which is also an Ultimate trim thing right here. And we can select each camera if we would like to see that view on its own, and then go back to the 360 view, see the side view, which is really quite cool. Somewhat traditional, but something that I really like is the inclusion of a manual volume knob or volume dial and an easy way to play and pause the music, both for the passenger and for the driver. The driver does have that control on the steering wheel as well, but I'm quite partial to this. I think it's just a nice and intuitive thing to do to grab a dial. I am 5'5" and the driver's seat is set for me, but I actually have a ton of leg room. Now, obviously I have a somewhat alternative leg situation with my prosthesis, so take that into account that the seat is set with that in regard. But I've heard some taller people say that there's less room back here. But if you are 5'5" like me, this is very spacious, very, very spacious. I have a ton of room, and I also get to enjoy the full panoramic glass roof here. Now this has an IR coating, so it is UV protected. I'm not noticing the sun at all, and it's a really warm day. I think the rear seats in the vehicle get the best show here because you don't actually notice it as the driver as much. There's a lot of front space that is covered, and you're not seeing the glass screen in front of the driver. So the rear passengers have the best view in the house for sure. Now, they also have some comfort. They have side-by-side cup holders. This feels very plush and very comfortable to sit on. And there's a 2-zone climate control, so they have their own luxury back here. They also have 2 USB power ports. They have gears and everything for the airflow. And it's actually a really comfortable spot back here if you're my height. One thing to note, as you can see right behind me, there's really limited rear view visibility. There's great visibility everywhere else in the vehicle, but it's really limited right here. So that is something to be aware of. A little thing to be aware of, not pertinent to many people, I'm sure, but if you have any issues with hand dexterity like I do, there's actually kind of limited space to get to the adjustment for the seat here. So I find when I want to adjust the seat for this vehicle, it's just a little bit easier to open the door and give myself some more room to do so. Once you've adjusted the seat, it's very easy to save your settings. You press memory and then you press the number that you want to assign that to. Now I actually have number 1 assigned to me, and when you press it to get it to move to a setting, you have to press and hold it. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to get into my perfect position. Nice. Driving the C40 feels smooth and well balanced. There's nothing special about the suspension, but like with every EV, the battery is on the bottom. That's the whole skateboard design. So you have a lot of weight on the bottom, which really grips the road well. It makes it nimble. Making turns is really nice and easy in the city. And this feels like a perfect city vehicle. As with other EVs, this has one pedal mode, but there's no way to customize it. You can just turn it off or on. I'm not a huge fan of one pedal mode personally, so I have it off now, and the accelerator and the brake are extremely responsive. This is actually a really powerful vehicle. It goes from 0 to 60 in mid 4 seconds. Like I was saying with one pedal, some vehicles have paddles or things like that. There's none of that here. This is pretty minimalistic. In fact, there's even only 2 modes in which you can set the instrument cluster. This is a 12.3-inch instrument cluster, and you can set it in nav mode, Navi mode, or comm mode. So right now it's in Navi mode, and you can see the map right there in the center. It's really unobtrusive and simplistic. And then with a press of the button right here, you get comm mode, and right here is on the right of the steering wheel button. And comm mode just gets rid of the map, and there's nothing else there. So you can just pay attention to the road. You can also get street signs that pop up on the display. I actually have that turned off because it'll flash when you're going too fast, and it's easy to go too fast, so I found that a little bit distracting. But it's really a minimalistic and chill display with simplistic ways to customize it. On the right-hand side of the instrument cluster, we have the power and regen meter. As you can see, I'm applying the brakes right now, and we were regenerating some charge there. As I apply power on the accelerator, you can see that showing up as well. And here we have a bump, which was really, really comfortable, all things considered. To the right of the center of the instrument cluster, you can see your charge level. We are currently at 75% state of charge. Now, this vehicle only has about 226 miles of range. It's a 78 kilowatt hour battery, so that's a little less than some of the competitors on the market, but perfectly fine for city driving and road trips, really. It has a charging speed of 150 kilowatt DC fast charging. So really, this is pretty good for a road tripper as well. That basically means from 10 to 80%, it'll take you about 40 minutes. So enough time to go to the restroom, grab a snack kind of thing. Most of the time, you will be charging at home on a level 2 charger, which should take you about 8 hours to full charge. I find the steering wheel to be a little loosey-goosey. It's pretty relaxed, but there are 2 steering wheel modes. Right now I have a steering feel firm set, but if you turn it off, it doesn't feel super different. It's still not crazy tight, but not, no, I won't go in there, but not totally loose either. Now, this vehicle actually does have off-road mode, which does a whole bunch of stuff, including like traction control and some other things. We are obviously driving in the city, and there's no way to go off-road, but if that's something that you do and something that you're interested in, that is an option in this vehicle, and you have the ground clearance to actually do something like that with greater ease. Well, that is our time with the Volvo C40 Recharge Twin Ultimate. You will have to let us know what you think of this vehicle. Of course, there is the XC40, which is available in all-electric, hybrid, and ICE vehicle. This is all-electric though, so let us know what you think of this offering. Some ways in which this, of course, stands out is the incredible ground clearance and some really cool features inside. The similarities between this and the XC40 are pretty close, but of course you can see a difference in the rear here. It looks a bit more sportback, and the XC40 has more of an SUV rear. So it really depends on what you like. This is a super peppy and really a powerful vehicle. 402 horsepower, 486 pound-foot of torque, 0 to 60, like I said, mid 4 seconds. Really powerful, great ground clearance. 226 miles of range, so not the best on the market, but it's really quite a fantastic offering from Volvo, and it looks really awesome. So let us know down below what you think of this vehicle. Check my link down below to the article that I wrote for more details about this vehicle, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!